I tell the story in the book of Islam's Gandhi. Did you know such a person even existed? Most Muslims don't know the name Abdul Ghaffar Khan. And he lived in what is today the northwest frontier province of Pakistan, but at the time it was part of India, 1920s, 30s, 40s. He lived at the exact same time as Gandhi himself, and in fact became one of Gandhi's best friends. Abdul Ghaffar Khan, before he came to know Gandhi, or know of the Mahatma, innovated a non-violent approach to both civil disobedience against British imperialism and to the imperialism of the mullahs within Islam, okay? And stood for redefining honor to be about individual dignity rather than group reputation. He
wasn't too popular, right?
He wasn't too popular, it's true. And by the way, neither was his father, okay? Whom, the mullahs assured would be going to hell. But you see, Ghaffar Khan's father never told them to go to hell. Okay? He just moved on with doing what he needed to do to support his son. And so the point here is that in order to develop moral courage, we do need a support network of people with shared values. In other words, individuality really does take a village. So that even if you say to yourself, well, Irshad, I can never be a Ghaffar Khan. I can never be a Martin Luther King Jr. I can never be a Gandhi. Fine. Nobody is asking you to be. No one's expecting that of you. But you be one of those supposedly nameless individuals who supports the Abdul Ghaffar Khan. He needed that. And he got that. And was able to build 100,000 strong, non-violent army that did community service. One final point, if I may. How then can you even, support this idea? How is it that we don't know about Abdul Ghaffar Khan? Well, we don't know about him because he also stood for Muslim-Hindu unity. And when Pakistan was created, his story was expunged by the Pakistani government. So again, always about politics, right? Yeah. Always the political games. I say in Allah, Liberty, and Love, photocopy those few pages of this book that tells the story of Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Give that photocopy. Violate copyright. I'm giving you the permission to do that. Be un-Swedish. Violate, the law. And give that photocopy to a teacher, to a school board member, to a city councilor. And on the basis of Abdul Ghaffar Khan's story, lobby those individuals to get this story included in the social studies curriculum of young people, because non-Muslims will come to see that, wow, Islam really is capable of better than the headlines would suggest. And Muslims will come to realize, whoa, there really is a positive role model that we can emulate. One who stood against British imperialism, but had the integrity to recognize that there is also such a thing as imperialism against Muslims from within the community.
Yeah.
My faith in God is actually part of the reason I'm a pluralist. Now, how can that be? Well, because I worship one God, not God's self-nominated ambassadors. Okay? Now, if I'm worshiping one God, this means I accept that creator has the full and final truth. I don't. You don't. Nobody in this audience does. Which in turn means that as a worshiper of one God, I can't play God with anybody else. And what that obliges me to do, and very happily so, I might add, is help build a society in which we can disagree with one another with civility, because anything less means that I would be playing God with you. We all know people who love to preach religion and are the biggest hypocrites in the world and are, just painfully arrogant to boot. We all know those people. I'm saying that my faith, as opposed to dogma, faith is secure enough to handle questions, dogma is not. My faith, rather than any dogma, is what is partly what informs the pluralism I speak of. And so what's so interesting, again, from a faith perspective, and this is what I'm laying out for a new generation of Muslims in this book, is that by your belief in one God, you're actually compelled to defend human liberty. The two go hand in hand.
I mean, as for me, it gives me hope that somebody who rejects Islam and somebody who praises Islam, that in the end, which is something that I believe in or want to believe in, it's hard some days, that we can get along, and based on the most basic values that we believe in. And then the theology aspects, who cares? You believe in this God, I believe in that God, he believes in no God, and can we just get along?
I used the word just moments ago, pluralist and pluralism. And let me explain what I mean by this, because I think understanding kind of the distinction I'm about to make can help many open-minded and big-hearted people who want to do good and who want to be noble. It can help pull us out of this trap that so many of us have fallen into, that, oh my gosh, I can't judge. Okay, if I want to be good, I can't judge. Actually, if you want to be good, you must judge. If you don't judge, you are nothing more than a relativist. Somebody who falls for anything because she stands for nothing. This is abdicating your autonomy. This is giving up your independence as an individual. A pluralist, on the other hand, recognizes that we have to judge because we're more than just individuals. We are also part of a wider social fabric for which we are responsible. Okay, and so we have to make decisions every day about what is acceptable and not, what is conscionable and not, what is good and bad. But, and this is the beauty of being a pluralist, you also have the humility to acknowledge you don't have all the answers. You may even have many more questions than answers. So, you're willing to change your mind based on a better argument coming down the road. Thus the need for free speech. And based upon more experiences in your own life, thus the beauty of wisdom. Okay? Your judgments then, as a pluralist, are provisional. They're temporary. But make no mistake, they are judgments. And so for me anyway, that understanding is really, it's not even a compromise. I think it's a humane approach that discards, the inhumanity of relativism, which tolerates the intolerable, and the inhumanity of fundamentalism.
And another thought was that Breivik had this sense of, he felt that he had the green light to do this. He felt the support because of the kind of comments, racist comments, xenophobic comments on different websites, and at the same time when this discussion arose, some other people were screaming, censorship. So where does the red line go? What kind of discussion is responsible, and where do we go, beyond that red line into irresponsible discussion?
Well, first of all, Nima, your red line will always be somebody else's crossing of the line. Okay? No matter where you draw the red line, there will always be somebody, and more likely more than just one person, who will, wave the flag of alarm and say, no, you've got to pull it back. You're never going to get, in a free society, you are never going to get consensus on where the supposed red line is. Therefore, I actually say, and I believe this, and I hope maybe you can help me clarify my thinking on this. I'm a libertarian on the issue of freedom of expression.
Yeah.
I actually, look, I'm openly gay. I have no problem with somebody saying you're going to hell because you're gay. I have no problem with that. Why? Who cares? Because I'm secure enough to recognize that I don't need their approval. Yeah. My approval comes from my conscience, which is where my Creator dwells. Okay.
But does this mean that we allow all kinds of xenophobic and racist?
Yeah, actually it does mean that. I think ultimately, and let me be very honest about that, I wish I could tell you otherwise, because that would just sound so much more comforting. But the reality is that we need, as individuals, to take responsibility and hold other people accountable for taking responsibility for what it is that we do with information. I will tell you that, in thinking about this a lot, and again, I have a lot more thinking to do about this. I'm a pluralist. I'm open to changing my mind. I need a better argument, and I hope maybe I'll hear that tonight. That information is like technology and, frankly, like religion. It's not the fact of having it that matters. It's what you choose to do with it that matters. Okay. So I have the same access to the racist comments from which Breivik took inspiration. I don't take inspiration from it. By the way, neither do you, and I don't think anybody else in this room has lately opened fire on people as a result of, something that...
But we might.
Well, but that's the point. You might. That's exactly... You might.
Yeah.
You might. And so the fact that you might means that we have something to discuss. Okay? But when you say I might, well, guess what? That implies that I might not.